very special program today, and it's an exciting program. So I'm going to do a couple of disclaimers right away. Number one, as you know, we always pre-tape our programs. So some of this has already happened that we're going to be talking about with two special guests, and some of it hasn't taken place yet. So you'll know, and both of these people are related to me. It's my niece and nephew, and they're from Arizona, and it's Mike and Kelli Ward. Doctors Mike and Kelli Ward. Mike and Kelli, thanks so much for being with me. I've been looking forward to this. We've been on the air on The Time of Your Life for 25 years, and At Your Service for 10 years, 15 years, and I've been waiting all that time to interview you guys. And,
wow.
and that's even before you were involved. Now, I want to get everything straight to everybody.
Okay.
So Kelli, well, you tell us.
Okay. Well, Uncle Bob, thanks for having us,
Okay.
number one. Okay, so right now I am the chairwoman of the Republican Party of Arizona, and we're in the heat of battle for, I think, for the heart of our country.
Right.
And so we've been working very, very diligently for, basically a year and a half since I took office, and now we've got not too much longer before November 3rd, before we know what direction our country is going in. So it's
That's what you're doing now.
That's what I'm doing now.
And
in
you're
real
also-
life, in real life, I'm a doctor. I'm a family physician. I have a master's in public health, and was a business owner. Owned my own family practice for quite some time. Since I've been doing politics, I just work one day a week in telemedicine in more kind of a concierge spa type environment, which has been great. But one of the things that's been very, very interesting over the last few months for us as physicians who are involved in politics is what's happening with COVID-19.
And a former state senator.
Oh yes.
You were a state senator also from
I was a
Arizona.
state senator in Arizona for 2 terms.
Right.
Very effective, just so you know. The vast majority of my bills were supported by bipartisan people, but they were very conservative bills because I'm a conservative.
Yeah.
And I ran for the United States Senate 2 times, once against John McCain, and unfortunately was unable to be successful there. Then I took on Jeff Flake, was able to
Knock him out.
Yeah, get him to retire. And unfortunately, there are some people in my political party, the Republican Party, who don't really like rebels and renegades like me. So they brought in some other people, and we ended up losing that seat. But now it's my job to help us defend the seat, to keep the Republican in the seat, to keep the president in the White House, and to elect Republicans up and down the ballot.
And your husband, my nephew, Michael Ward,
Yeah.
Mike was at the convention, if you saw the convention at all, when the delegation from Arizona was brought out. The chairman of that delegation was Michael Ward.
Me. And so that was pretty exciting. There were only 6 delegates from every state allowed to come to Charlotte. And so I had to be elected into that position by the delegates.
Yeah.
I had no power over whether he got to be the chairman or not. I was just a regular delegate
Sure.
who got to cast
She
one
encouraged me to run.
Right.
And because I really wasn't going to, and I said, well, I'm going to run, and I was able to win that position.
Right.
And so it's pretty exciting to be able to be there, and I didn't know what that was going to entail.
I don't
And
think
so-
anybody knew what it was going to entail because remember, with the convention for
Right.
the RNC and the DNC, things were very up in the air because of COVID-19.
Sure.
We were going to go to Charlotte, and it was going to be a 50,000 person convention. Then it was just going to be the business in Charlotte. Then we were going to go to Jacksonville for the party. Then
Right.
that all got kaput, and we ended up with 336 people in Charlotte.
Right. Still a nice group.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
So in my background, I'm an emergency physician. I still practice full-time, 200 to 240 hours a month. I'm a retired Air Force colonel, and I do a little bit of political, not really consulting. I feel like I'm a life coach to new candidates to try to help them understand the process
Right.
and their expectations.
Well, and to learn a lot from what we went through running for office at the state level and at the federal level.
Yeah, so I do that on the side, and so I'm eyeballs deep in politics as well, and medicine.
How long were you in the military?
33 years
In the Air Force.
in the Air Force.
And you're a full bird colonel.
Retired as a full bird colonel.
Right. And
So when I retired, I was actually the state air surgeon who is the advisor to the adjutant, and you guys have an adjutant general
Sure.
as well. So my job on the Air Force side of the house was I was the air basically the Air Force advisor to the Adjutant General for all matters health for the state.
And you did have a few tours in...
I went to Iraq once, Turkey, Kuwait, so France. Horrible.
France was the best deployment because I got to go for part of that time,
Yeah.
so that's good.
So you were deployed several times.
Several times,
In the
yeah.
war zones as well.
Yeah, I mean, Iraq, definitely. 2004, it was definitely not a nice place to hang out. Even though I was on an air base, we got rocketed quite frequently. And so it was an eye-opening, I would say somewhat of a life-changing experience. I mean, you know, you don't go through those things without it somehow affecting you. So, so it was good. So I've had a great professional career in both the military and in medicine so far.
Okay, so now let's take us right up to, you just got back from the convention in Charlotte.
Yes.
Okay, so how did Charlotte look compared to how it looked 2 years ago?
Well, Mike, you take it because you went on a walk. I only went on a walk
So-
one day that we were there. I admit it. He was the exerciser. So talk about what you saw.
So we were
out
in
there.
Charlotte last year for the RNC meeting. It was they meet the year before in the convention location, and so we were there. I went as a guest at that time because Kelli was there as an RNC member.
Right.
And the normal hustle and bustle of any city.
Energy,
lots of traffic,
people,
lots of people.
Yes.
Restaurants
Activities,
and-
restaurants, people outside enjoying Charlotte.
So this time, you know, every morning I went for a 30 to 40 minute run around the downtown area, the convention center area, and you literally could run down the middle of the street and not really risk getting hit by a car. And this is during the middle of the week.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the area that was cordoned off from traffic and people, because that didn't really come until
Friday.
really late on
Thursday
Sunday.
Sunday.
So late Sunday, they had all the barriers finally
Right.
put up because, you know, the president was there yesterday, and
Right.
and so but it's, you know, it's sad actually what you're seeing. They still have damage left over from the riots. Several
Boarded
months
up,
ago.
plywood. We ate at a restaurant the first night that we were there, and the wait staff and the people that were there were just so grateful that we had come in. They said, please send some people from the convention. We're open.
So the convention itself, you got 365 people, there.
336.
336.
Well, there was
this close.
There were some staffers, so we were probably right.
So, but with staff, probably I'd say there was about 500 people.
Maybe,
security,
pushing it.
staff, volunteers.
Yeah.
I would say probably
but
close to 500 people.
Did you still get the feeling of a convention that we used to have? I mean, we had the signs up, you had the, when I was watching it, every state had, I saw you walking around, and did it still have that feeling of a convention? Did you feel that let's go out and get the votes type stuff?
We did, but it was so much smaller. It was almost as though you were at a corporate convention or a corporate meeting. They had, because the rules that North Carolina imposed upon not just us as the RNC, but
and the city of Charlotte.
on everyone, were that we had to be spaced a certain amount apart at the tables. There could only be so many people at the tables. So many people in the rooms, but the energy from the delegates was huge. They brought the entire energy of their entire delegation, even though they were back in their home states. They did bring that energy. But I will say, we've been seeing all the replays of the Democrat convention and the Republican convention of years past, and how much excitement and the balloon drop and the confetti and the massive crowds, basically just imploring the people that they want to represent them to win. It was not as spectacular as that, but for the size it was great.
Well, I will tell you from a viewer standpoint, compared to the Democrat convention, I mean, one was a yawner. I mean, let's face it, if you stayed awake during 10 minutes of that, there was something wrong with you. You must have been on no-dose or something.
Right.
And I think, and they could have done a similar thing to what we did. I'm sure that, first of all, remember, this is a First Amendment protected activity. So regardless of what any jurisdiction says, this is a First Amendment protected activity. They can't theoretically stop it, limit it, although they could try, and they could use the courts and all the other things that they've tried to do already. they could have done the same thing in Milwaukee, and they chose not to because they're peddling in fear, and they can't peddle in fear and have an in-person event at the same time because they're contradictory things. And so luckily we did what we did.
Did you know that the President Trump was going to show up?
Well, there was no formal announcement about it. However, you know, we like Twitter. If you guys want to follow us on Twitter, we'd love it. At Kelli Ward AZ, Kelly with an I. I care about the people. So Jimmy the Mole 01.
Yeah.
And so we looked at Twitter, and Donald Trump tweeted out something to the effect that he couldn't believe how disrespectful the Democrats were, and Joe Biden, that he didn't even bother to show up in Milwaukee whenever Milwaukee had opened itself to the Democrat convention. And so
changed it once.
Yes.
They even changed the dates and
Yes.
reaccommodated them. And so when I saw that tweet, I was like, you know, he's coming, honey.
he tweeted, "We'll see you in Charlotte."
Yeah, and so yeah, it was pretty obvious then. So that was about 3 days before. So we knew. And then, you know, by Sunday, the Secret Service was there.
Yes, and they were saying there's probably going to be some special guests here. There'll probably be some special
So
guests
we
here.
knew, you know, at that point we
Of
knew.
course, the president, when he got there, said, "No one knew I was coming until
Yeah,
right
I know,
now,
he's
till I got here." We were like,
No, not really. Some of us knew.
So, but it's always exciting to see the president. I know you guys know the president. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk a little bit more about that and about what's coming up next, which has already happened. but we'll be right back.